My world collapsed when Jason, my boyfriend of 7 months, ended things over supposed red flags after consulting his best friend. Then, mere days later, he begged me to reconsider. Here's what happened. I'm Emma, 26, a junior architect in Seattle. Jason, 27, works as a physical therapist at a sports clinic downtown. Before me, Jason's dating history consisted of brief connections, 3 months maximum. This made our relationship feel significant, special even. I was wrong. Jason's best friend Mia has been in his life since elementary school. They grew up on the same block, attended the same schools, and now work in the same medical building. They're inseparable. Every decision Jason makes passes through Mia's approval process first, including his girlfriend's. I only discovered this unsettling dynamic 4 months after we started dating. By then, I was deeply emotionally invested. Against my better judgment, I stayed. Had I known from the beginning about his dependency on Mia, I would have walked away before the first appetizer arrived at our initial dinner date. My relationship with Mia has always been strained, though we maintained civility when forced together. She subtly reminded me at every opportunity that Jason would always prioritize her. Her exclusionary tactics made gatherings uncomfortable. Initially, I tried building a friendship, but her resistance was clear. Making matters worse, I eventually became competitive for Jason's attention, creating a rivalry neither of us acknowledged openly. Last week, I caught a terrible stomach virus. Living away from family while establishing my career at a prestigious architecture firm, I had limited support. My roommate was away at a conference in Portland, leaving me alone and miserable. Desperate, I called Jason and asked for help. His hesitation was immediate. After pressing him, he admitted he had scheduled a movie and lunch with Mia. Even sick and vulnerable, I recognized I was second place. The realization stung deeply. Angry and hurt, I snapped, suggesting he should date Mia instead, and hung up. An hour later, Jason appeared at my apartment with homemade soup and apologies. He'd canceled his plans with Mia to care for me. We spent that day together, and by evening, I felt both physically better and emotionally reassured about our relationship. The next day, silence. Jason disappeared. No calls, no texts. Nothing. Worried something had happened, I tried reaching him repeatedly. Finally, near midnight, he called. His voice sounded different, distant, and formal. After briefly asking about my health, he broke up with me. Initially thinking it was a poor joke, I soon realized he was serious. He claimed he'd identified numerous red flags in my behavior and couldn't continue our relationship. The accusation bewildered me. I'd consistently strived to be caring and supportive. Nothing made sense. Before I could question his reasoning, he hung up and blocked me everywhere. No closure, no explanation, just abrupt rejection. The previous day we'd connected meaningfully. Now I was discarded without answers. I spent days replaying our interactions, searching for these alleged red flags, finding nothing. 3 days later, Jason called from a different number. He immediately launched into apologies, hardly allowing me to speak. The truth emerged. Mia had orchestrated our breakup. She resented my making Jason cancel their plans and convinced him this represented controlling behavior. She had compiled a list of innocent actions, cooking his favorite meals, buying clothes I thought suited him, recasting them as manipulation tactics. More infuriatingly, Jason admitted falling for her interpretation. He claimed Mia warned him I was attempting to separate them, and he believed her. Now he wanted reconciliation, promising to keep our relationship secret from Mia moving forward. His continued blindness to Mia's control infuriated me. She had successfully manipulated him into ending our relationship, yet he still couldn't recognize her unhealthy influence. Even now, his solution wasn't to address her interference, but to deceive her. I realized this pattern would repeat endlessly. Any relationship milestone, any instance of prioritizing me, would trigger Mia's interference. Jason would always be her puppet, regardless of his romantic attachments. Though I'd decided against reconciliation the moment he revealed Mia's involvement, I couldn't let them escape consequences. I told Jason I'd consider reuniting under one condition. He must confront Mia directly, informing her she couldn't control his relationships any longer. Jason protested, calling my request extreme. I remained firm. Either he sends those messages, or we stay broken up. Eventually, he relented, sending the texts and forwarding screenshots as proof. The moment I received confirmation, I hung up and blocked his number. Perhaps it was petty, even manipulative, but after days of self-doubt and emotional turmoil, it felt justified. I had no intention of resuming our relationship, but Mia deserved to experience the humiliation she'd caused me. 2 days passed without contact. My social circle remained unaware of our breakup until a friend invited us both to her birthday celebration. I dreaded explaining our separation, uncertain how to summarize such a complex situation without seeming bitter. A week after blocking both Jason and Mia, I received calls from an unknown number. On the second attempt, I answered. It was Mia, immediately launching into accusations. She called me a coward, a liar, claimed Jason deserved better. When she escalated to vulgar insults, I finally snapped. I told her plainly she functioned as Jason's backup girlfriend, destined to chase away his partners to maintain her position. This struck a nerve. Her voice wavered, emotion breaking through. I emphasized that despite her machinations, Jason had chosen me by sending those texts, however temporarily. She ended the call in tears. The confrontation I'd anticipated arrived at my friend's birthday party days later. Jason and Mia entered together, clearly prepared for confrontation. I explained the situation to my friend, offering to leave to preserve her celebration. She insisted I stay, admittingly curious about the impending drama. I maintained distance until Jason approached while I conversed with a colleague. He loudly accused me of moving on quickly, calling me a cheater and fraud before everyone. Mia stood behind him, visibly pleased with his performance. When he claimed I was the backup and not worth dating, I laughed openly. I reminded him he had crawled back barely days after dumping me at Mia's directive. I called him a spineless puppet and suggested they belong together since no one else would tolerate their dysfunction. The party fell silent. Jason had no response. Mia, lacking substantive comeback, resorted to profanity and invaded my personal space, seemingly attempting to provoke physical confrontation. I remained composed until Jason finally dragged her away, their attempt at public humiliation thoroughly backfiring. The evening resumed with supportive comments from friends impressed by my composure. We enjoyed dinner, drinks, and conversation without further incident. The confrontation provided unexpected closure. 3 months later, word reached me through mutual acquaintances that Jason and Mia finally acknowledged the obvious and began dating. Meanwhile, I've been seeing someone new who respects boundaries and makes decisions independently. Sometimes toxic situations lead to better outcomes, especially when you refuse to accept disrespect. Life improves remarkably when you value yourself enough to walk away from those who don't. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this.